Let's pretend this isn't real, just for your sake. When my parents moved us into the old farmhouse, my little brother Eli was the first to find the crawlspace. It was tucked behind his closet, a small square door barely big enough for a child to squeeze through. Mom thought it was a neat hideout. Dad said he'd board it up. Neither of them followed through. Eli started spending hours in there. I'd hear him talking, giggling like he was on the phone with someone. When I asked who, he'd smile and whisper, "The man in the wall." At first we laughed it off. Kids make up imaginary friends all the time. But he started changing. Eli got quieter. He wouldn't sleep in his bed anymore. He slept on the floor, facing the wall. One night I heard him whispering in his sleep. "He said you're not supposed to hear him yet." I told my mom, but she brushed it off. "He's just adjusting," she said. "Moving's hard for little kids." But then I started hearing him too. Late at night, after everyone else was asleep, I'd hear scratching. Not like mice. This was rhythmic, purposeful, like someone dragging their fingernails along wood. Sometimes I heard breathing, slow and shallow, just behind my wall. Then Eli stopped talking altogether. He sat in silence at the dinner table, eyes fixed on the corner of the room. He wouldn't respond unless you touched him. Even then, it was just a blink or a nod. My parents finally got scared. They took him to a child psychologist who said he was dissociating. Trauma, maybe. But I knew it wasn't that, because one night I woke up to find Eli standing at the foot of my bed. His mouth was moving, but no sound came out. I turned on the lamp. He pointed to the wall, and then he smiled. That was the night I decided to go into the crawlspace. The door creaked open easier than I expected. Inside was dust, old insulation, and a sickly smell of mildew and copper. It wasn't very deep, just a narrow corridor that ran along the inside of the wall. I crawled in with a flashlight. The air was freezing, and I kept brushing against cobwebs and jagged wood. About 10 feet in, I found a hole, a perfectly cut circle in the wall, about the size of a dinner plate. I looked through, and there he was, a face, staring back at me, pale, wide-eyed, grinning with dry, cracked lips pulled too far. His head tilted slightly, as if studying me. He didn't blink. I screamed, backing out so fast I scraped my back on the wood, but when I looked again, the hole was just a wall. No face, no opening, nothing. I dragged Eli out of his room that night and made him sleep with me. He didn't resist, but he didn't sleep either. He kept whispering, "He's angry you saw him. He said you're not allowed." The next day, I told my parents everything. My mom broke down crying. My dad didn't say anything, just walked into Eli's room, took a hammer, and smashed through the wall. The crawlspace was gone. No insulation, no tunnel, just brick, solid, untouched. They thought I made it up, thought it was a shared delusion. But I remember what I saw, and Eli, he hasn't spoken since. He just draws now, dozens and dozens of drawings, all of the same man, long limbs, hollow eyes, wide smile, and in every picture, he's getting closer. I moved out when I turned 18, but sometimes, in the middle of the night, I wake up to a noise, soft like a breath, just behind my headboard. And I wonder, how long can walls forget what they once held? All right, folks, that's all for now. But the whispering never really stops.